brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Live from Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create amazing relationships. I am Rachel Cruze, hosting this hour with my good friend and best-selling author, Dr. John Delony, and we are answering your questions. So give us a call at 888-825-5225. And I feel like we need to give a little shout-out. This weekend is our money and marriage getaway. We have 600 Valentine's weekend. So we have 600 couples coming to Nashville, and there's a bunch of them here in our lobby today watching the show, which is so fun. So we are here, though, live, taking your calls. So give us a call. We're talking about your life, your money, your relationships. And first up, we have Brian in Billings, Montana. Hey, Brian. Welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
What's up, dude?
Absolutely. How can we help?
So my soon-to-be ex-wife and I bought a house a year ago last February, and then this last October she decided that she wanted a divorce. She already moved out, and I decided to try and keep the house by myself. After we purchased the house, she racked up like $10,000 in credit card debt, and I've been working really hard to get this down, but it seems like after all the bills that I pay every month, I have like maybe an extra $100 I can throw at it. And it just seems like at this rate, it's going to take forever to pay these credit cards off. And I don't know if it's smart to keep or sell the house at this point.
Were the credit cards in your name that she racked up after the divorce?
They were. Yes.
They were. And was this after the divorce?
No, it was we were still
legally married. Okay. At that point.
Yeah.
Can you afford to keep this place?
So I make like $4,400 a month, and the house payment is $2,360.
Yeah, dude. You can't breathe, brother.
What do you do for a living, Brian?
I'm an electrician apprentice, and hopefully next month I'll be able to take my journeyman's exam, so I would get a significant pay bump.
Yeah, what would that look like? How much in an ideal world? How much would you be making?
Probably around $38 to $40 an hour.
Okay, but per month, if you're at $4,400 right now, what would you expect it to climb to? Like 6,000?
Yeah, that's the hope.
Okay, and what's the reality of that actually happening?
I'd say there's probably 60% chance that I'd be able to make that happen.
And that's going to happen in the next month or two. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, I would wait then, because in that case, if you're making $6,000 a month, then that's about a quarter of your take-home pay. That is the parameters. But you got to get it. Yeah, that has to be the case, Brian. And I think you have to emotionally be able to detach yourself that if it doesn't happen the way you think it's going to happen, that you can't afford it. You can't afford this house on $4,400 a month.
Yeah, and brother, it's pretty tight on 6.
Yeah,
it's real
is.
tight.
It's tight right now.
Yeah,
especially.
So why do you want to keep this house? Like if let's pretend you weren't married, making what you make now, and even what you might potentially make, would you walk in and buy this house?
No, but the main thing for keeping it at the moment is that there's not any equity in it, and so we'd probably end up having to pay to even sell the house.
Yeah, but even if you have to pay 3% or whatever, you're like. I just see most couples that go through a divorce, one person wants the divorce just to happen, and then the rest of their life just keep going on as it was. And It feels like you're bleeding money everywhere. You got this debt here, you got lawyer fees over there, you're going to get court docket fees, you're going to get just feed to death, and it's like playing whack-a-mole with all these different bills. The only folks I see be successful in this transition, dude, are folks who understand everything about my life that is now over.
Right.
And really, like, metaphorically taking your arm and just swiping it across the table and saying, okay, would I buy this house right now? No. Okay, then I'm going to spend $5,000 getting out of it.
Yeah, is the main motivation, Brian, to stay in because you feel like you're going to lose money, or are there kids involved and you're wanting to stay in for them, or what's the main motivation?
Just the main is just because of the money aspect. I don't really.
I'd call a realtor and get an actual real number in your head.
What's making you think that because you guys just bought it a year, like 6 months ago. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so it's basically, and I get like an updated monthly report on it, and
you'll have to pay
what we bought it for.
capital gains because it's been under 2 years as well.
Yeah, there'll be no gain.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. That's fair.
I would get a realtor, dude, and I'd get a realtor and get real numbers.
And run some comps too, Brian, because that's right. I think there's probably a lot of emotion wrapped up in this, and
I have written a check. I wrote a check one time for like $4,600 to get out of a house, and it's the best. It's some of the best money I've ever spent. Ever. And they say nobody brings a check to closing. You get one, right? I did. I brought one. And within 2 months, I had basically paid myself back, if you will. And that started my entire
process again.
Yeah, getting out of debt and just stop being chained to everything.
Yeah, and I think too, underestimating the weight of feeling like I have to keep up a mortgage payment. It's your home. Like, do you know what I mean? Like there's an extra weight there that you're carrying because of it. It's not like a car loan that you can sell and kind of figure out. When it's your home, there's like this desperation that sets in and not always making wise decisions. And I realized my math was bad.
Yeah, it's 37%.
It was 30, but it was 30, it wasn't 25.
It's still pretty high.
It was like 38, 39%.
Yeah.
So
I'd sell it,
so,
dude.
Yeah.
Unless they come back and say you're going to lose $60,000 or $70,000. How much does this house cost when you bought it?
We financed $295,000.
Okay. Yeah. You'll probably spend up to 10 or 15 grand to write a check to get out.
Yeah.
And that will be painful on top of everything else. How are you doing with the divorce mess?
It is what it is, I guess.
No, it's not. It's not. That's not a real statement. That's what dudes from Montana say when they're trying to stop from
just what cowboys
from
say.
Weeping. Yeah. How are you?
I'm not that great. Past few months have been pretty bad.
Yeah. You have little ones involved?
We have a 19-month-old baby.
Oh man.
And we're just trying to navigate co-parenting at this point, but I don't know. She just decided after 3 years that she was done and called it quits.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Me too. It kind of came out of nowhere. I really did not see it coming, and her parents and my parents and really nobody saw it coming, and I think she's going through her own issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's also something about not being able to hold your baby every night of the week that it's hard to breathe, right? I get that.
It is.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man.
Is it final, Brian, the divorce?
No, it will be final next month.
Okay, so terms and everything with the house, like all of that is completed.
No, I mean, technically we still, we filed the court documents and all that stuff. We just have to go to a final hearing. But she was signing the house over to me.
Well, and maybe you pause that.
I know, that's what I'm wondering.
And say I'm going to sell it, and y'all are going to split the cost of you getting out of the mortgage. And you and or your attorney can make a case for, I can't afford this on my current salary, so I'm going to have to sell it. And since she's the one who left, then I'm going to ask her to bear the entire or at least half of the burden of selling this house and getting out of it.
Yeah, keeping it, Brian, was probably an emotional knee-jerk reaction for you. But now that stuff is settling and it's not finalized, I mean, it's an option for sure. Because, calling the show, running the numbers, you can't afford it unless your income bumps up to $8 to $9 grand a month. But besides that, it's not worth it. So
Rachel,
I would figure out a way out.
Everybody who gets divorced, it just feels so common.
Yeah.
Everybody I talk to underestimates how disruptive and how destructive it is. It just blows up everything.
So difficult. Brian, thanks for the call.
Hey, George Camel here with a not-so-fun fact. Every American Social Security number, including our children's, has been hacked and is now on the dark web. And this is not a scare tactic, this isn't fear-mongering, it's a reality that could turn into a nightmare for a lot of people. And believe me, I've been a victim of identity theft, and I would prefer it never happen again. Because once the bad guys have your social, it's the lifeblood for all of their activity. Think of all the places you use your social. Your banking, your employer, government offices, utilities, cell phone companies, everywhere. And once they've got it, thieves can open new accounts, drain existing ones, steal payroll, and wreak havoc all in your name. Not cool. And to be real, it's not a matter of if, but when. So you've got to protect yourself with Xander's ID theft protection. Xandr has all the cyber tools to help, including home title monitoring, full recovery services if you do become a victim, and stolen funds protection. Not to mention, it's the best value on the market. They've been protecting my family for over a decade, and I trust them to protect yours too. So get enrolled today by calling 800-356-4282 or just visit Xandr.com. That's Xander.com.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show, and we are so excited. We said here in the first segment that we have a lobby full of attendees for our Money and Marriage Getaway this weekend, and we're so excited to announce the fall weekend event of Money and Marriage.
Running it back.
Coming back in 2025. So these are 3 incredible days to hang out with your spouse here in Nashville, and you'll join myself and John for a long weekend, and we're going to dive into some great content around money and around marriage, relationships, all of it. And we do live Q&As. We interact a lot. I just feel like there's like this energy about this event that is so fun. It is such a fun weekend, and we're pumped to do it this weekend and pumped that it is coming again this fall. So if you go to RamseySolutions.com/events, we are so excited. Oh, it's November 6th through 8th. I was trying to find the dates. So November 6th through 8th, it is here in Nashville. Early bird pricing is happening right now. Tickets start at $749, so get yours before prices go up, because they will continue to go up. And we even have some limited VIP tickets with a meet and greets and some other fun stuff. So those are available as well.
And by the way, we intentionally keep this at about half the price of what weekend retreats are, and we intentionally... Like, we could shove another 1,500 people in this auditorium. We intentionally undersell it. So we, like, as a team, we choose to make less money so we can get people in here that when they leave, it's not just 3 days of talking to somebody. It's 3 days of, like, dude, you and I are both married. We're trying to figure this thing out too. It's everybody in a room figuring this thing out together. So it's my favorite thing that I'm a part of. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's so fun. So again, excited to announce some new dates, November 6th through the 8th of 2025.
And they dropped this right smack in the middle of deer season. For a whole weekend, which is super
we did
not cool.
Consult John's hunting schedule.
How dedicated I am to this thing.
Wow, what a selfless servant you are. Kind of like a public servant, just being here with all of us in November. Thank you, John.
Listen, my family will starve.
Thank you.
But marriages will be saved. That's right.
That's all we want. Oh man, so fun. All right, let's go to Elizabeth in Philadelphia. Hi, Elizabeth. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you both?
We are doing great. How can we help?
Well, thank you for taking my call. So I'll cut to the chase. So I'm a licensed realtor. I'm working towards my broker's license. While I'm in class now, but I have chosen this past year to stay at home with our son, and I'm feeling some regret about staying home, and I'm struggling with how to be content in that decision. How can I make peace with this choice and still pursue my career goals without feeling like I'm not contributing enough financially?
Ooh. Okay, so that's what I was going to ask. What's the discontentment over? Is it that you're bored at home? Is it that you miss your career? That you feel guilt that you're not bringing in money? Where is this coming from?
I think it's a mix. I've always had, I've been in the mental health field since I've graduated college, and always had that job as director role, and had a consistent paycheck. Real estate came into my life about 9 years ago, and that was always bonus. So that was always on the side, and when I eventually have a family, I can focus on that. And so always had that as a side hustle. My husband's in mortgages. It's been a roller coaster the last couple of years. But with the hustles, side hustles and so forth, we've saved some money, and my son's only 2. We both agreed I can continue to focus on real estate and stay at home. So I guess that's been a challenge for me. I'm always on the go, going to work. And so I'm having a hard time with that. Although it's a wonderful thing. I'm still technically working, but I guess that's just not clicking, for me, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. I think it's hard when you go from one speed to the other. It does feel like whiplash. And this need to feel like what felt normal is no longer normal, and it's not comfortable because of that. And so I do wonder, Elizabeth, because you're a high producer. I can hear it in your personality. You like productivity. You like to do things, and so I'm wondering for you. Number one, is there a level of a hybrid? I think it's okay to always decide, okay, this isn't what I was thinking it was going to be, and make a different decision, right? No one's holding you captive to stay home full time unless you and your husband agree like that's a value of ours and you want to keep that value longer. But I'm like, in my head, you can always kind of shuffle around and say, okay, I've been trying this, it's not working. Maybe I go part-time. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing, stay home completely or work, 80 hours a week or something. That hybrid, or even the routine around the home, how can you make it mirror your productivity so you at least feel like, yeah, I'm still staying at home because that's what I wanted to do, but it's still matching your personality. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. And believe me, I'll make, there's never a moment where I'm sitting.
And I wonder if that's an issue, though.
That's it.
Is that an issue, though?
Yeah,
that's where John will come in.
My friend Ian Simpkins says, if busyness is your drug, rest will feel like stress. And I'm talking to two moms, so I cannot stand when dudes are like, all right, here's what you're feeling.
Here's what you should do.
I'm not doing that at all, but I want to pose these questions. You have entered into what I think from the outside looks like the great guilt factory that is modern motherhood. And there was a whole bunch of people that told you, if you drink like a man, earn like a man, like if you buy into that nonsense, by the way, men kill themselves more, they die younger. Like if you buy into that track, that you'll quote unquote feel a certain way. And then there's this other side of it that is, how dare you do that? You've got this kid at home. Moms who outsource childcare are some sort of like lizard person. They're less than. And you thought, okay, I'm going to quit all of this, and it's going to quote unquote feel a certain way. And in both situations, you went with you. And so if you've been running for something for a long time, or you run and move as a way to try to outrun ghosts that have been hounding you since you were a little kid, if you're constantly on the move, sitting at home and facing the fact, can we just all say this, parents? Parenting can be super boring. It can be like catastrophically boring. There's only so much cha-cha in getting thrown up on and washing bottom. I mean, it's
mundane. Yeah,
it's just over and
over.
over.
It's a complete selflessness versus coming to work and interacting with other adults.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it is a complete giving of yourself.
Yes.
Completely.
And so I think, what Rachel said I think is so important is none of these decisions are forever. And if you and your husband hold them lightly and say, okay, we're going to try this for 6 months, and then you be honest about, I'm kind of going bananas. I need to go talk to a therapist. I need a group of friends. By the way, I think every stay-at-home mom needs to have a gang. This idea that women go home and you're stuck in a house with a crying baby. It's never happened in human history. And we tell moms, y'all are the problem. That's insane, right?
Yeah.
So you got to get a gang, all that stuff.
Yes.
Is any of this ring true?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
And I think, what has recently stopped, and this is, tell me if you need me to stop, but, I was always contributing to my 401k. Now it's like, well, I can only do that. That's on pause. My husband does it. He has his 401k. It's like certain things have stopped, right? But we have financially, put that security in, so we can hold off on that for a little bit.
Hey, Elizabeth,
he still contributes. Yeah.
Contributing to a human being is infinitely more valuable than a 401k.
You're okay. You're okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean getting barfed on isn't any less fun.
So much of our worth is
financial. It's a number.
It is poured into that, and it is this value of here's what I bring in from a dollars and cents perspective, and even you mentioning the 401k, Elizabeth, like that is ingrained in you.
What are you worth? And we answer that with a number, and that's insane.
And unwinding that, I think, is going to be a really important part of this journey for you, because for so often, again, I'm going to say women because I'll speak for myself, that are proactive, you're productive, you do things. There is a value. It's just like, it can be like a drug. You get something out of it. There's a cause and effect, and I get to see it.
I've got to prove that I have worth.
Yeah, and it feels good. And then when all that stops and there's silence there, that's the monster you have to face.
There's no silence. There's just, can I have a snack? Can I have a snack? Can I have a snack? God,
I know. So give yourself some grace, Elizabeth, for sure. But yeah, it's one of the hardest limbos for a mom, and I feel that every day between the kids and the job. I get it.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. You've probably heard people talk about different kinds of flags in friendships and romantic relationships. You got red flags, you got green flags, you got beige flags. Listen, yes, it can be helpful to look for patterns or unsafe behaviors in potential relationships. But all these flag labels can distract from what's really important. Your values, and whether you and your potential partner are willing to wake up every day and choose to honor each other's values. And I know it can be tough sometimes to even know what's important to you in a relationship, to even know what your values are. Therapy can help you figure out your values and then decide your boundaries and your non-negotiables. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, try BetterHelp. BetterHelp is 100% online therapy that works with your schedule. To get started, you just get online to fill out a survey and you get matched with a licensed therapist. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch therapists at any time for no extra cost. So whether you're dating, married, building a friendship, or working on yourself, do it with help from BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Ramsey Radio to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Ramsey Radio.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. And as we've mentioned, every segment, but we're going to because they're fantastic. We have an incredible crowd here today at Ramsey Solutions. And as you can watch the show live from the lobby on the glass, right next to the lobby, right in front of us as well, is the debt-free stage. And people that stand on the stage do a debt-free scream. And today we have Tommy and Rebecca on the stage. Welcome, you guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great. So glad that you're here. All right.
Where y'all in from?
California.
Yep.
Corona, California.
Well, you can't get out of debt if you're from California.
That's true.
In Corona, California. Yep. That's pretty fun. Okay, you guys. So you're from California. Came in. Are you guys here for the weekend?
Yes.
Yeah, we're doing the Money and Marriage event.
Amazing.
Awesome.
So great. Okay, so how much debt did you guys pay off?
We paid off $644,000.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so what does that include?
Dang, Gina.
We're weird people.
Yeah,
your house.
you are. You paid off the house. Yes, you did. Okay, how much of the $640 was the house, or was that it?
It was the whole mortgage.
So paid off the house completely.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay, how long did that take?
3 years.
3 years. And what kind of money were you making during that time?
Joint $350,000.
Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys.
Okay, but that still doesn't cover. That means y'all.
We had
Y'all, like,
savings,
Okay.
and
You
so
did, okay.
part of the process was letting go of the savings. I was more of the hoarder because I came from really humble beginnings, and so I felt like having a large safety net made me feel warm and fuzzy in that security blanket. So when Tommy got me into the Financial Peace University, it was kind of like he had to explain, babe, this is crazy what we're paying in interest on the mortgage.
Yeah, for sure. So you were the math nerd.
Yeah.
Running all the numbers.
Yeah, I was big into Ramsey, watching it all the time, but we purchased the house right as we got married 3 years ago. We were a blended family. We have 3 daughters between us. And I was looking at the amortization schedule, and I just couldn't believe the amount of money that we were going to end up paying. We bought it on a 30-year, so we were not really on the plan. And once I was realizing that, I started kind of talking to her more and more about it. We need to pay it off. And at first, I probably turned Dave's name into a cuss word in the household.
Yeah. Okay, so how long have you guys been married?
3 years.
3 years. Okay, when did all this conversation about selling the house start? Right
Or
before
paying it
marriage?
off, not selling it,
Or,
paying
I'm
it
sorry,
off.
thank you, paying off.
I think shortly after we bought the house, I was looking and I started getting anxiety and stressed out about how much money we were going to spend. So I started kind of trying to work my way into it and talking to her about it.
Oh, he came in hot. And I was like, what? I was like, you are crazy. What are you talking about? Like, everyone has a mortgage. Like, this is no big deal. But as we went through Financial Peace University, I was like, oh, this kind of makes sense. Like, okay, all right, I think we could do this. But it was kind of more of getting me on board because it was crazy. I haven't known anyone to pay off their house. So to me, it was crazy.
Okay, I want to hear from you. I want to hear about your. You have a tension that I think so many Americans have, and we don't talk about it. This both survivalist, like you grew up without a whole lot, me too, like, and so you kind of know this can all go away, and at the same time, you get that job and you're kind of successful, and you get to have all the stuff that you were never able to have. And so you live in this constant tension of it's all going to go away. And so maybe you have a deep freezer full of, I don't know, hot dogs or whatever. But then also you're just buying stuff all the time. Tell me about that tension that you lived with.
Well, for me, it's, it's a different lifestyle. We do really well, and we're very blessed. But at the same time, we still have those same traditional feelings. Like, we both wear socks with holes in them, like because we're both the savers. And so it's crazy to have so much money and income and be able to pay off the house when we're still like, the saver type.
And it's almost like your emotions haven't caught up to the math.
No. And like we
just sit in the reality of what it's really reality.
We just paid off the house last month because we knew he booked this money in marriage, and we were like, we gotta pay it off and do this debt-free scream. And so it hasn't even sunk in yet. Like, this is still so fresh for us that it's like, this is crazy.
Have you had the checks deposit and you don't have a mortgage to send them to yet?
Yeah, no,
we had one. Yeah,
we got to skip one house payment by the time of coming here.
Yep.
So it was like,
it's the next one that y'all will be weird, and then next month you'll look at each other and be like, I think we're rich. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me because I love that it's been 3 years. This has been like a short journey for you guys, I mean, for the most part. And so when you went from, is this a good idea? I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. No one pays off their house. Kind of that normal mindset, right? Which is very normal. Tell me about like the emotions between just that, like, okay, I don't know, to actually having it paid off.
Yeah, I think for me, I was always like, oh no, we need the mortgage to have the tax write-off, right? and he's like, what are you talking about? And then to get to this side, it's like, oh, we don't have the mortgage anymore. This is, I mean, the way I would describe it is just mind blown. And especially because I don't know anyone else who's paid off the house. And so for us, it's totally, we're the weirdos, like he said.
I found out there's a whole bunch of people who've paid their house off. And it's kind of like the guy at the bar who just says, excuse me, because he knows he can beat up everybody and he didn't have to like bark and prove it. You'll find out there's a whole bunch of people who've paid it off. They just don't feel like they have to talk about it because they have peace in their life. They have nothing to prove to anybody anymore, right? And then they can go buy socks that don't have holes in them, too. It's fantastic. So what's a thing y'all are going to work towards to buy now?
No big purchases. We want to retire early. So we're just both savers. So like, why not fuel off of that and build towards early retirement?
Will you make a commitment to me and Rachel?
Yes.
Before you leave Nashville?
Yes.
Y'all here for the Money Marriage Weekend.
Yep.
Before you leave, I like to think of Nashville as the sock and underwear capital of America. Will y'all go get some socks?
We'll buy socks.
I do want to get some cowboy boots, actually.
Yes, go get a nice pair of boots. That's what you guys need.
Saturday evening after the event, y'all go downtown. You can get 19 pair of boots for like $4 or whatever. Get some hats, and it'll be fantastic.
Were the girls, were they part of this? How much did you involve the kids?
So they were involved in the sense of like saving, like, hey, we need to cut back on eating out. This, that really builds up over time. And they're like, but why? But we did keep this kind of private for ourselves.
Yeah.
We wanted to do the journey, and when they're old enough, we'll explain it to them and the importance of it, but we didn't really get them too deep involved on it.
Yes, no, that's great. That's great. I know, but it's so interesting, each family, because then those girls, as they grow up, their normal baseline is like, oh yeah,
is peace.
Yeah, you just have a paid for house. That's what you do. You know, like with the normal you're setting is part of changing that family tree. It's not just the financial legacy, but it's this mindset of how you view and see money. So
let me make one more quick observation. Both of y'all, this is marriage number 2?
Yes.
Yep.
The fact that you guys came together and did not just throw your feet up on the couch and say, we're just going to give this another whirl. But whatever happened in your past, y'all entered into this new marriage, blending a family, which is hard. A picture of your girls came up, just stunning young girl. I mean, brother, you're in for a mess, my man.
Yeah, no,
but here's the deal. Y'all put some hurdles in your way immediately, and y'all overcame them. And so I want y'all to remember back to this point when y'all get sideways with each other, which you will. Every marriage does. Y'all can do anything, right? Y'all went and did it right out of the gate. It's amazing. So proud.
So great. All right, you guys. We got Tommy and Rebecca from Southern California. They paid off $640,000, which is their house, in 3 years, making $350,000. All right, you guys. Let's hear a debt-free scream. Count it down.
3, 2, 1. We're debt-free!
Amazing.
It's time to go sock shopping, America.
And that's how it's done. God, we don't get a lot of houses. We've gotten some recently.
We get some, yeah.
But that's the pinnacle.
But they're bucking every trend. California, you can't pay it off. It's impossible. It's this. It takes 2 people saying, let's just go get this thing done.
Oh,
it's awesome. 3
so
years.
Beautiful.
3 years.
Incredible. Tommy and Rebecca, you guys are amazing. Absolutely amazing. This is The Ramsey Show.
What does the future hold for business? Ask 9 experts and you'll get 10 different answers. Economic growth or a recession. Business taxes will go up or down. AI will help us work, or it will replace us all. But there's no such thing as a crystal ball. That's why more than 40,000 businesses have future-proofed themselves with NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud enterprise resource planning system. Ramsey Solutions uses NetSuite, and you should too. Whether your company's earning millions or even hundreds of millions, NetSuite helps you respond to immediate challenges and seize your biggest opportunities. With one unified business management suite, there's only one source of truth for the visibility and control you need to make quick decisions. NetSuite's real-time insights and forecasting help you see into the future with actionable data. And when you're closing the books in days, not weeks, you can spend less time looking backward and more time focusing on what's next. And speaking of what's next, download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/Ramsey. It's free at netsuite.com/Ramsey.
Up next, we have Emily from Minneapolis on the show. Hey, Emily, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I am just looking for advice. I'm in a funny situation. Me and my dad were living with my grandmother, and she recently passed away.
I'm sorry.
And thank you. The situation, I guess, that we were looking to buy the house, and I didn't really want to buy it unless it was given to me, and that was in conversation, but we didn't quite get to it. And my dad has always been supported by her, and since she's passed, is still not really going to work. The reasons why he never really went is because he's an alcoholic. My boyfriend, he wanted to buy the house, and I'm a big fan. I know you're not supposed to do that. So we did start the process of the mortgage lending, and now my boyfriend doesn't make enough, and then my dad's credit is too bad, so it really would only work if all three of us were in on it. But now that my dad still isn't proving to me that he can go to work, I guess I'm just looking for financial advice, what to do here.
Please, 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 please don't do what you're about to do.
Yeah.
Please don't do that. You know in your guts that this is not a good idea. Please don't. And I know it will be hard, it'll be uncomfortable, and your dad will get mad, and you're going to feel guilty, all those things. Please don't do this.
Yep, because I'm still in debt. My boyfriend is still in debt. Do we just buy a different house?
Think of it this way. The bank's job is to lend money. And they looked at your boyfriend and looked at your dad, and they said, y'all's situation is so uncertain and unsafe that we will not do business with you. Please don't. Like, not to mention, like, you get the mess and the legal mess of buying a house with a boyfriend and how to untangle all that mess. And I know you're going to be together forever because we're in love. I know, but we wouldn't have a show if that didn't work out all the time. And then you throw a dad with some significant challenges, man. It is just a recipe for you being just destroyed financially, your romantic relationship ending up in ash, and then you and your father having I mean, you've tangled business with substance abuse, with lifetime of you two having challenges with grief. I mean, it's just such a wreck. Walk away. Go get an apartment. Please, please, please go get an apartment.
How old are you, Emily?
I'm 24.
Okay.
Yeah, no, please don't. Please don't.
Yeah, there are so many things in this. And in a weird way too, Emily, I feel like sometimes you can call it God, you can call it life, whatever you want. There's just closed doors that happen, and it's like there's closed doors continuing to happen. You didn't have the conversation with your grandma. The bank isn't allowing, your dad to fully have it, and then the boyfriend, and then you're going to have to come into play. I mean, like, there are all of these things that are stopping you, and I think is it your sentimental, the sentimental idea of owning this house from your grandmother, or is it just I want to own a house? Like, what? Give me some of the thought behind it for you.
Right. So this year we just got on my boyfriend and I were like, hey, we're going to pay off our debt. We were going to, get engaged and buy a house this year. But then when this happened, I guess now it just kind of feels like, I know my dad has bad credit, and when he gets this money from once the house is sold, there's 3 other brothers, so he'll probably get like $50,000. I know if he gets that, he's just going to drain it. He can't go buy a house, so I guess part of it kind of felt like an obligation to what's going to happen to him. I know that's not my responsibility, and I thought it would be easier to move on until it really came to, like, I don't know what he is going to do,
This is a really, really hard thing for me to say.
Yeah.
But you can't save your dad in this situation.
Yep. It's not my responsibility. I understand.
Well, and I'm glad that, I know the cool thing these days is just to write off your parents. I don't believe in that. And I believe hanging in there as long as you can outside of like really abusive situations. And the thought of taking care of my parents, like that consumes a lot of my thinking. So that's not a bad thing. This isn't you helping him with bad financial decisions, and this isn't you helping an elderly parent. This is you thinking that maybe now he's going to look at you and say, I'm proud of you. And he's not going to.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And you've been looking for that since you were a little bitty girl, wondering why is he picking the bottle over me, and it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the fact that he's got demons, man. And alcohol for him works right now. And he's going to have to walk through that.
Yeah, I understand.
And I hate that for you. I hate it for you. I do. I really do, man.
And Emily, too, I would give you a little bit of word of caution with your boyfriend and even just the mixes of finances, because as you were saying, we were trying to pay off our debt and all of this. Keep everything separate. And if you're working to pay off debt, that's incredible, but be paying off your debts. How much debt do you have?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, me doing mine, him doing his.
Perfect. Okay, good. Awesome. Good. Yes.
The number of people who call the show and she's paid off all of his debt, and then he finds some new hot young thing at the water park or whatever weird. Like, Like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, you pay off yours. Y'all can be each other's cheerleaders. Y'all can high-five each other. But, yeah, don't pay off his debt yet.
Okay. And so you guys recommend apartment, save to buy the house, then get engaged?
No.
Get engaged whenever.
Yeah, get engaged today.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys are doing it, just do it now. Get engaged, get married.
Okay.
I would be completely debt-free and have a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses, and then save at least a 5% for a down payment.
Okay, 5% for a down payment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so that's probably going to be, what do you make?
What was that?
How much money do you make?
I make, I think it's like 35 after taxes.
How much do you owe in debt?
I have one auto loan, and it was for my grandma, actually, to get her boat around. She bought a boat her last summer because she said life is too short, and she spent her funeral money. So it's a truck. It's a $14,000 truck.
Can you sell it?
I'm thinking about it, yeah.
I would sell it this weekend.
Yeah, have you looked into if you sold a private seller, what it would come to?
I haven't yet. I think this all kind of just hit me today of like, well, I'm not going to be able to do this.
Yeah, for sure, Emily. No, and I'm so glad you called. So I would just go on Kelley Blue Book, type in the information. You know, it'll ask you some questions, and just don't do a dealer. You know, do a private sale. You'll get more that way. And that would be huge.
You're free. Then go buy a $5,000 Camry that will run forever.
Yes.
And then you're off to the races. And can we? I want you to see this. You have a real life picture. Most don't have this. You have a real life picture of what it looks like to not take care of your finances, to burn yourself to the ground trying to prop somebody else up who's not interested in your help, and then asking your granddaughter to buy a car so that you, in your last few months and years, can YOLO. You have a picture of that. Yeah. I want you to try to consider what it would feel like to not owe anybody any money, to have your own house, to have a job where you're making more than $35,000.
Savings in the bank.
You got savings in the bank. You get what I'm saying? Peace. Yep. Peace. Yep. Let's solve for peace.
Yeah, Emily, stay on the line. Christian's going to pick up, and we're going to give you Financial Peace University. This is our 9-lesson course, and you can just binge those videos just to kind of get the basics. Make boyfriend
watch it.
Yeah. You guys sit down together and watch it. Seriously.
That was already the plan.
Oh, good. And we'll give you every dollar premium so that you can start really working this feeling of what John's saying, kind of painting this picture of, what does this look like to actually have a plan for my money? Not only month to month, but in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And it's an amazing thing. I mean, it is so possible. And you're 24 years old, and you are going to be able to make so many changes in this.
You.
But there's some.
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, no, we're so excited for you. And there's some relational hurdles there too in your life.
Yeah. Hey, can we make no mistake? This is gonna be awful.
Yeah.
Your dad is gonna make you feel so guilty, and he's gonna blame you, and you can block him, and you cannot respond. But this is gonna be hard. Yep. But just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not the next right thing.
Yeah. Emily, thanks for the call. Stay away from water parks, right?
I'm telling you, those boys go to water parks and they find new.
Oh my gosh! All right, thanks to all the guys in the booth. Thanks, John, for a great hour, and thank you, America. We'll be back.
Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create amazing relationships. I'm Rachel Cruze, hosting this hour with my good friend and best-selling author, Dr. John Delony. And we are taking your calls at 888-825-5225. So give us a call, talking about your life, your money, anything and everything. Next up.
First up. Dude, I'm so happy right now. It's my favorite weekend of the year. I love it.
Favorite weekend
It's
of
Money
the year.
Marriage Weekend, and people come from all over planet Earth to hang out with us in Nashville, Tennessee. And if you think we get wheels off like on our individual shows, this particular event is so unhinged. It's the best. It's the best of the best.
It's a lot of Rachel just shaking her head on stage with John. Just,
You are the queen of accidental double entendres.
okay.
It's like your superpower.
It happens sometimes. All right. Let's start us off this hour
Actually,
with
Ken Coleman is the king.
always
The king.
number one.
Yes,
Number
number
one
one.
in the book for sure. All right. Let's go to Courtney in Raleigh, North Carolina. Hey, Courtney. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how's it going? I hope you guys are doing good. I just have a question about debt consolidation. So I have a vehicle loan that's like over $23,000, and I'm wanting to sell it to an auto dealership, but the options are either lease or get a rebate and lease a car, which I don't want to do, or pay the part where I'm underwater. And so I was thinking if I go ahead, sell it, and get a loan out for maybe $9,000, I can pay off my credit card and have my car also paid off and have that debt gone, because my ultimate goal is to be able to get a house and just get rid of some of that debt.
Okay. So the car, you owe 23 on it. And have you looked at other options like private sale and what you could get? Because usually you can't get as great of a deal through a dealership.
Yeah, I haven't looked at private sale. I mean, there's a dealership right now, like my car, they're offering like around $20,000.
Okay.
So that's pretty good. I am concerned about how long it'll take to do a private sale.
Sure.
While I'm putting more mileage on the car.
Sure.
If they're offering you 20, then I bet you can get 27.5 for it.
27.5 for it?
I just made that number up, but I guarantee you they are lowballing you like swing low, sweet chariots. They are so they send these emails out that they have with their and they're fishing for desperate people.
Yeah.
If you wait 2
Well,
weeks, you can get this thing sold private sale.
Okay. So should I just stay away from the debt consolidation, or?
Yeah, I would, because it's not going to really fix your problem. Because how much do you have in credit card debt that you're wanting to use some of this other loan that you're going to take out, right, to pay off the credit card debt?
Yeah.
And how much is that?
Yeah.
How much is the credit card debt?
So the credit card is about $4,000.
$4,000. Okay. And how much do you make a year?
Around $70,000.
Around 70. Okay, great. Okay, honestly, Courtney, if I were you, I think John's right. I think you could probably break even on this car. If not, maybe make $1,000 or so. So I would Kelley Blue Book it and really look into private sales. To sell to an individual. And I think you're going to get more doing that. Again, the dealerships always lowball you because they have to turn around and resell it. And so they have to make their margin on it. And so instead of all of that, you get the profit instead of them.
But they're also going to turn around and resell it. But you kind of unveiled their plan. They're going to make a little bit of money on that resale. Where they're going to make most of their money is taking somebody who bought a car and trying to trade them into a lease.
Yes, that's it too, Courtney. They're trying to make a lot.
And you've heard that when you drive a new car off the lot, it instantly loses money. You know that one, right?
Yeah, it definitely did. It went down like 10.
That's right. All a lease is it's an awesome scam that car companies came up with to get regular consumers just to pay for that depreciation. So they get their car back in 2 years. Somebody has paid the depreciation, and now they can turn around and sell it for what it's worth, and they win. Don't play that game.
Okay.
It's just they are looking for desperate people.
Yeah, Courtney, do you have any money saved at all?
I don't. Like, I just made a big move, honestly, and I had, like, life happen, and then that's kind of what happened.
Sure.
I had to buy a new car.
Yeah, because...
I'm really used, but,
Yeah, and, and I don't think you're in, like, you're not in a desperate situation. So if I were you, Courtney, I would make it a goal, get an extra job, get a side hustle, and I would make it a goal to save $5,000 to $6,000. I mean, in the next 4 months, make a big goal. Try to make $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 a month extra. And when you do that, you'll have you'll have that margin. Go and buy a $5,000 Honda Civic, sell this car and maybe you'll break even on it, right? I mean, the worst it's going to be 23. If they're offering you 23, maybe you'll get another extra $1,000 or two.
And I don't even mind if you have to go to a local credit union and take out a loan for $2,500 to get out of it, because then you only owe $2,500 versus $2,000. Is your credit pretty shot?
Yeah, well, no, my credit is, I think the car is so new on I've only had it for a couple of months, but it was
you're not underwater on it. So breaking even, I mean,
is a win.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then Courtney, you'll be able to work and pay off the credit card, the $4,000 in 3 or 4 months. I mean, your whole life could look different, honestly, in the next 8 to 9 months. And I don't think, the debt consolidation loan, I mean, that's just moving around, the interest, and you're not going to be in this long anyways. So for the long game, from the math perspective, it's not going to make that much of a difference. And majority of the time with debt consolidation, not as much in this example, but for a lot of people, they try to shuffle around their debt to fix a math problem. We're realizing that so much of this is a behavior problem, not a math problem. So you, Courtney, going and doing it and, understanding like, oh yeah, I can totally pay this off. I think you'll do it faster in that way than trying to kind of shuffle the debt around.
Can I ask you a personal question just between me and you and a couple of million people listening?
Sure.
Why did you move?
For a job. I got an actual, almost a $16,000 increase. And everything was great. I had my money saved for my house. Everything was going. And then something popped up on my credit that I didn't know about, get an apartment. And then I just couldn't get the house at that time as well. So started shoving out money left and right. Next thing I know, my savings was drained.
There you go. So sometimes, when you have a big transition or 2 or 3, or you mentioned, it's just things got chaotic real fast. All of a sudden, you look up and the smoke clears. And you're like, "What happened?" Right? I'm all super stable, and then this thing happens. The temptation is, I want to fix it all right this second. It's like somebody who has a really just bad, gets off the rails with their diet on a weekend, and they think they're going to solve it by just starving themselves Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And what they end up doing is creating such a teeter-totter inside their body that they end up overeating Thursday and Friday, right? So the hardest thing for you is just, you make great money. You're clearly awesome at what you do, and you've had a little bit of chaos in your life. You've transitioned, you've moved, all this stuff. Just do the next right move. Get rid of the car. Don't get in bed with any. I said that kind of weird. Don't take out any loans. Don't get in with any consolidation. You'll pay this $4,000 off in no time. You'll have your savings back in no time, and then you'll be back on your feet, like Rachel said. In 9 months, this whole thing is behind you. So just do the next right move.
There's a time in your life and the baby steps for renting, but you don't want to do it forever, because when you rent, you're still paying for a mortgage, just somebody else's. Plus, rent means instability in your budget because it always goes up, never down. So when you're ready to buy, make sure you work with a mortgage partner you can rely on. Churchill Mortgage. Churchill is Ramsey trusted to help you make the move from renting to home ownership wisely. Churchill understands that when you buy a home the Ramsey way, your mortgage payment will be a consistent, manageable part of your monthly budget. Plus, when your home is paid off, that was your largest expense. Now it's extra money in your pocket and an asset towards turning you into a baby steps millionaire. Get started on the American dream of home ownership today at churchillmortgage.com. That's churchillmortgage.com. Today's question of the day is brought to you by Why Refi. Why Refi refinances defaulted private student loans and builds a custom loan based on your ability to pay. Now, you guys, private student loans are different than federal student loans like Sallie Mae. So to learn more about this custom refinancing option and a lump sum payoff option that you could qualify for after 24 months, go to yrefi.com/Ramsey. That's the letter Y, REFY.com/Ramsey. May not be available in all states.
All right, before I read today's question out loud, I need everybody to relax. James, this may be the end of the show because you're going to get canceled question because I have strong opinions on this. Today's question comes from Renee in Iowa. Oh, geez, here we go. My husband and I are on baby step 2 with about $50,000 left to pay off. We earn around $250,000 a year. Our question is regarding how much we spend for our 13-year-old daughter's travel softball team. Between club dues, private lessons, weekend travel, food, hotels, and I could go on and on. It's about $1,000 a month. Rachel, $1,000. We're doing well, paying off our debt, and I don't want to squash her passion for sports. Then take her out of travel sports. Because she's one of the top players in the state. She still will be. She's a hardworking kid and doesn't take our support for granted. But I feel like I'm breaking the rules for paying off debt in baby step 2. What are your thoughts on this? Oh, this is the killer question, the knife in the heart question. Our debt is not her fault, so I feel like it's unfair to take this from her just to save some money.
I'm going to have probably a less harsher take than you will.
Go for it.
Okay, you make $250,000 a year. Mm-hmm. You have $50,000 in debt. So, cut everything for 6 months and pay off the debt. Like in my head, and you're fine, and then you pay the softball stuff, and you're fine. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not like
my problem with this has nothing to do with math.
I know, but it's the yes, yeah.
Make $250,000, pay off your debts.
Yeah, that's so like in my head, I'm like the $1,000 softball thing. Yes, is it slowing down your debt snowball? Sure, but I think there's way other problems out there for making $250,000 and not being able to pay off $50,000. Like in my head, I'm like,
you're taking home $18,000 to $20,000 a month, making $250,000, and you take $5,000 or $7,000 of that a month, pay off $50,000.
Right.
6 to 10 months, it's over.
Get an extra job or whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? Like to do it. So I don't like the, oh my gosh, this is the thing. I'm like, I think there's other issues going on besides the softball thing.
Yes, I would be shocked, and Renee, I can be wrong. I'd be shocked if there's not a whole bunch of other expenses that we quote unquote have to do.
Yeah, it's that feeling.
Or I'm going to use her words, we're going to squash our kids' passion. It's not her fault, so it's unfair. All this stuff. So here's what I spent my career. I did travel sports in their first iteration. I was a college athlete for a couple of years. Like I'm my whole life has been around athletics, and I love it. And I've got to sit. Some of my buddies are collegiate trainers. That's what they do for a living. I also work with some of the top physical fitness folks in the world. I love this. I love sports. I love all of it. And we are destroying our kids at the altar of every weekend, private lessons, club dues, performance. And we say things like, she's one of the best players in the state. Great. That doesn't mean you spend $1,000 a month.
Right.
If you go ask people who work with professional athletes and even the top collegiate athletes, they're going to tell you, let your kids have time off, make them play other sports, go do other fun things, go camping, have weekends, have a childhood.
I was going to say a whole rounded childhood.
That's right.
And the problem with this is it's so segmented, so early in life too.
That's right. And I've got collegiate trainers and collegiate medical staff friends of mine that said they see repetitive joint use injuries in 18-year-olds that have always been reserved for geriatric patients. Shoulders, knees. It's madness, right?
Yes.
In this intense specialization and the intense focus on it. And so I want every parent, this, like you said, this is not about money. It's not about money. If you make $75,000, let me put it this way. Everything is on the table when you're trying to get out of debt. It's an emergency for your family. And I do like kids having some skin in the game. And moms and dads, you're not robbing from your children if you don't shell out $1,000 a month for soccer or for softball or for whatever the thing is. You're not robbing your childhood.
And you know what I hear in this too, Renee? I mean, this was, 5-6 sentences. all around this.
It's guilt. It's guilt.
It's
guilt.
And I'm like, there's a level of this like idolization in her. I'm like, Renee, chill. Like, you know what I mean?
She's
like,
13.
If Renee was like, yeah, I mean, it's fine. But she's like, no, it's this like pressurized momentum for the parents going on to the children.
Yes, and here's the ultimate problem. Our kids are being made the center point of the family, of the house. Your 13-year-old knows that her life dictates every weekend, every evening of the week, all of the driving, the money. They know that, and kids cannot hold. They're not strong enough to hold the entire weight of a family. That's the parents' job. Teach your kids to be disappointed. Teach them, hey, me and your dad got into a whole bunch of debt, and so all of us have to sacrifice. And they're going to learn resilience
for 1 year
and frustration.
Right.
And your 13-year-olds will say things like, oh, I hate you. They're 13, right? There's a reason we don't let 13-year-olds buy guns or beer or vote because they're 13, right? And so if you are playing this, it's unfair, and I don't want to get mad, and I don't want to take their passion, you won't do any of that stuff. You won't do any of that stuff. You will give your kid a stable, as Dr. Becky Kennedy says, a sturdy presence to anchor into. And that's way more important than shelling out private lessons and travel and hotels and all this madness. It is stone madness. And if you talk to any professional coach, they'll tell you, geez Louise, man, do something else. Go play soccer. Go play basketball. Go take a karate class, go play guitar, do other things that make you a well-rounded human being.
Yes. Well, and I even think, the well-roundedness, I was even hearing some dads talk, and they were like, their goal is to go do something outdoors once a month with the kids, with the boys.
Right.
Because they were like, if you look up, it's a sport. And I don't know why, I don't know if it's like this area or if it's all of America.
It's turned into
but it is
all of America. And here's the thing, I have great sympathy for parents, Rachel, because they're told at 4, hey, your kid's pretty fast. Or how good does it feel when someone's like, hey, your kid made this team? And you're like, yeah. All right, it's going to cost $900. And because I see something in your kid. And if they get on this team, then next year they can get on this team. By 5th grade, they can get on that team. And then in 8th grade, they can get on this. And you just got put into a rocket ship that is so expensive.
And I was going to say, and if we I would love to do like an investigative reporting on how much these leagues make.
And the league owners make.
It is a money-making machine.
It's a printing press.
It is, and every parent's like, oh, take my money, take my money. I mean, seriously, it is wild.
I would love to see a parent who was awesome, who would be willing to go back and say, okay, here's how much money we spent, and I would love to just give it to you or George or Jade and have y'all run it through. If y'all invested this, just put it in a 529 or put it in a Roth for your kid.
So how much of all of this, from your perspective, how much of it is the kid that's like, no, I want it, versus the parent that's saying, do this.
13-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 7-year-olds, they're going to want Twinkies and Skittles and to stay up late and to play games and have other recognition from other adults. Kids are just kids. I heard somebody say recently that I just love, I don't want to hear another person say, quote unquote, the kids these days. They haven't changed. Kids are kids. They're always going to try to push the boundaries, and they're always going to say, I want the next shiny thing. That's because they're kids. What's changed is adults who are worshiping their children's feelings, and they don't have their own psychology. They were trying to relive their childhood. Everybody's Uncle Rico. If I had just gotten my shot. But I think the bigger thing is, the more honest take is, parents are so worried about how their kids feel on a minute-by-minute basis that they end up with 19-year-olds that can't pick up their arms and that have no resilience and no psychology for disappointment or frustration.
Well, and it's funny, too. I'm like, as a parent with 3 little ones in this, I mean, literally, they're like, oh, well, if they don't do this and they're not on travel by 4th or 5th grade, then they're not going to make the middle school team. Then they're not going to make the high school team. Then they're going to do drugs and they're going to die. Like, that's what it feels like happens. And you're like, oh, my gosh.
Right.
So, yeah,
and
taking
it's
fear out of all
categorically
this.
Not true, period.
Welcome back. Again, we have a big weekend here for our Money and Marriage event, and tickets just came on sale for our November event. We just opened up these dates to the public. So November 6th through 8th, you can come out to Nashville with your spouse and come hang out with us.
The greatest marriage retreat on earth. I'm a little bit biased, but I think it's the best one that's out there.
We have so much fun this weekend, you guys, and it is. It's always great conversations, great hanging out time. We really pack in an incredible weekend. So you can get your tickets for the fall event, November 6th through 8th, at RamseySolutions.com/events. Up next, we have Susie in Phoenix, Arizona. Hi, Susie. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hello,
Glad
hello.
To be with you.
Yes, thanks for calling in. How can we help?
So, I want to know how can I go on in the ways I can trust my husband after he had moved all our savings without telling me. I discovered it, and he keeps on making financial decisions without telling me or asking me.
Where did he take your savings?
Well, he moved it to another account, and part of it that has higher interest, and some of it went into some investments. But that's not a concern because we kind of talked about it, but it's just not the only. In the last 2 years, not the only time that he did things and I discovered it. And
well, I guess there's two things here. One is you can't, you're asking yourself to do something, you're asking yourself to find trust within yourself, and the person you're trying to trust continues to violate the trust. And so if you want to reestablish trust, then you have to put down on the table, lay it out there. Here's what must be true for me to trust you again. And we're gonna have to practice, and we're gonna have to go step by step to reestablish trust. And then the other person has to participate.
Yeah. So relationally, I know what to ask of him. I know first you do this, and this, and then we can work together, and I'll.
So
would it make you feel after these steps?
Would it make you
financially? I don't know what to ask of him because I thought we had a joint bank account, and it turns out probably I don't know what a joint bank account is, and what should I ask of him to be sure that money doesn't disappear all of a sudden, that I have some.
Yeah, I mean, you need to have a spreadsheet that has every account on it and what every password for every account is. And you should both be sitting down with an investment professional, Smart Investor Pro, as we call them here, and they're walking both of you through your retirement accounts and how much money you have in those accounts. And you should know how much cash y'all have. Yeah. I mean, all this stuff you should know.
Susie, what does he say his reasoning is for doing this without telling you? When you find out and you say, oh my gosh, you moved the money, what does he say?
He couldn't explain it, actually. He started saying, well, because you, and I'm I stopped, my mind shut off. I stopped even listening because, what do you mean? Because you did it, you didn't, he's, saying, well, he's trying to put the guilt on me somehow. Okay. Well, the worst thing is that for 15 years, money wasn't something that we ever had fights or about.
Did you ever talk about it in those 15 years? And you saw everything, you had access to everything, and you knew where everything was for 15 years.
Yeah, and he
there was
would
no
always
fights.
say, we would discuss it, or sometimes he'll say, I want to do this, or I did this, and I'm okay, so he always said what's going on. And then he just...
Is he in trouble? Is he struggling with gambling, or is he seeing somebody else? Where's this money going?
I want to say that it's not going... I don't think he has problems with gambling, I don't know actually what's going on, because this is the last 2 years, there's been a series of betrayals.
Okay, so here's the thing. Here's what you need to do. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, so there's been other betrayals, Susie, in your marriage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
on his
I know,
on his
like,
end or your end?
Relationally, what to ask, but then how do I make myself financially
Have you caught
safe?
him having an affair?
He was in an emotional affair with somebody.
Okay. My guess is if there's missing money or suddenly money's getting moved around all over the place, that if you went in and did a forensic deep dive into that, and forensics just means you went line by line to see what stuff's being spent, you're going to find stuff spent on flowers and hotel rooms and things like that. It's just very rare for things to just be bebopping along for 15 years. Everybody's on the same page, and then suddenly all the money gets moved, and you don't know where it is. And some of it's getting spread out, all that kind of stuff. If I'm you, or if you're my sister, or you or my mom, I would tell you, pull your credit report today to find out what loans have been taken out with your Social Security number. I would freeze my credit, and then I would tell my husband, we're going to have a meeting with every single account, every dollar amount. I want to know what is in all of our retirement accounts. I want to know what's in all of our savings account, what's in our checking account, and an accounting for where all the cash actually is.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be a sheet. And by the way, it's not hard to do. I've got one. My wife has one. And Rachel, it's pretty common that somebody just instantly gets into a mess. And I see it more and more with online gambling over the last few years.
Yes. Well, usually when there's shuffling around like this, and then suddenly there was transparency, now there's not transparency. Yeah. There's a red flag. Something else is going on. It's the biggest
waving on top of a mountain red flag there is.
Yeah. And,
so sorry, Susie.
Yeah, and I would say even from a relational standpoint, I don't feel like you guys have probably fully healed from that, obviously, because even the way he's speaking to you or what you told us, he's shifting the blame.
The gaslights are burning brightly.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, like it is pretty wild. So yeah, I would be, it is so difficult because if it's not under your name, he could have a secret account that you never know about either. So,
that's right.
So there is a level of his transparency that he has to come forward as well. But you can pull things in your name if you know the banks you guys are banking at together, whatever name account or whatever account is in your name, you will have access to. You will be able to see it, and then asking him to do the same, because I'll be curious as you do your digging on the side and he brings information. If his doesn't line up with what you even found,
right?
Then there's another distrust there. But this is Susie. Usually with these types of situations, we always say around here, and it is true. It's at this point, it's not a money thing. It's a marriage issue.
Yeah, big time.
Because of the marriage issues, it's coming out as this money issue. And so, I mean, you guys have a road of healing. I mean, you really do. And if you guys want to,
well, you got a road of fact finding for the time being.
That's fair. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Because you're not getting the full story.
Yeah. And that's really, really difficult and always scary. I'm like, it is the betrayal that's always so difficult.
Yeah.
So difficult. So, I'm sorry, Susie. Thanks for the call. I hope that helps. And I hope it does give you some empowerment to go and to look. And I think for some, I'll say women who do allow the husbands just to basically do majority of everything when it comes to the money, this is one of the issues that we find because you do feel overwhelmed of like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start.
Right.
Like, I don't even know what to look for or what to ask, because you were saying that, Susie. I don't even know what to ask from a financial situation. So again, just to repeat and help you in this, I mean, it is asking checking accounts, it's asking savings accounts, high yield accounts, money market accounts, investments, retirement accounts.
Any outstanding debts?
Any debts that are there, yes. And what John said too, pulling your credit report and seeing if any debts have been taken out. But that's kind of those are kind of the categories to walk through, to ask him, and then for you to go in this investigative mode.
Yeah, and let me flip it on its head to the men out there. You are not helping your wife have any sort of peace in her life by saying, I've got it.
Right.
At some regular interval, whether it's every month or every quarter, or twice a year, once a year, sit down and say, and of course, there's somebody who pushes the button and pays the bills, or somebody who moves the money. I get that. Have some sort of, hey, just so we're all on the same page, here's where everything is and here's where we are. That brings so much peace to your house, and it keeps these nightmares from happening.
of the best things that you can do for your money is to get a great tax pro in your corner. Tax season is approaching, and they're going to help advise you to make the best moves for your situation, especially if you've had a big life change or a complicated situation, if you own a small business. So go to RamseySolutions.com/taxpro to find CPAs and enrolled agents that have been vetted by the Ramsey team. All right, up next, we have Ashton in Madison, Wisconsin. Hi, Ashton. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely. Thanks for calling in. How can we help?
Okay, so basically, I own a residential painting company here with my longtime childhood friend. We basically are splitting the profits right down the middle at around 50%, despite me running the business full-time, year-round, while he's in school. And he only works for about 3.5 months out of the year.
How'd y'all come to that that arrangement, man? You're getting hosed on that deal.
Well, I dropped out of school to start the business. And so when we created the partnership, we just made it 50-50. And then we kind of assumed that it was going to be the same setup as when we worked at a different painting company together. But now, now that we're into it, I'm booking all the work. I paint and run one of the crews year round. I'm expanding the network daily, and I'm making most of the gradual improvements to the business. So
what's he saying, Ashton? Have you brought this up to him, feeling like it's unfair? How has he responded?
Yeah, we've had multiple conversations about it, and the main argument that he uses is that I currently make, or he and I guess, both make over 6 figures, and so why do I need any more money? That's kind of his argument, and he just doesn't back down on it.
Did you guys put in investment up front, equal investment, and that's how you got to the 50-50 partnership? Or did you guys were just two friends, or like, yeah, we'll just open up this together and see what happens?
I'd say it's closer to the latter. It really wasn't super expensive to get into the business. And I know that I don't need the extra money to stay alive. I'll be fine. But my contribution
past need
to the
a long
business,
time ago, so it's not that. I mean, yeah.
No. Hey, bro, this guy's not your friend.
Yeah, he's my business partner. I understand that.
And he's a bad business partner. You
might be right.
Yeah.
You got to dissolve this thing because I'm just thinking, if one of my buddies came to me and I was in school and we had a business and suddenly he was running the whole thing, it wouldn't even occur to me to respond the way he did.
50-50, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, so Ashton, what would it look like? Have you guys? I don't know how it's set up, how you guys formalize the business, but do you buy him out? Do you dissolve the business, start your own thing? What are you thinking? Because he's obviously long term, it's not going to work. It's not working.
Yeah,
he's not who you want to be in business with long term.
Yeah, the assumption is that it's going to kind of work itself out because, once he graduates, he's committed to, or verbally committed to, coming and working full time for the business, and making up for the fact that I kind of built it from the ground up single-handedly. But I don't know if that's going to happen. And, I'm only 20. I turn 21 pretty soon. Yeah. We're doing about $500,000 in revenue each year. So
here's the thing, dude.
Just throw this away.
As a 21-year-old, you're dealing with, I wish I had another word for it because it's got romantic connotations, and that's not what I mean. But you're dealing with a breakup, dude. You're dealing with a friend who's not treating you the way you treat him. And I wish this wasn't the case for the rest of your life, but people are going to hurt you for the rest of your life. It's just kind of part of it. And you'll find a group that will ride with you to the end no matter what. But just hear from me and Rachel, what's happening to you is categorically unfair, and he's revealing himself as a person who lacks integrity. Or maybe he's 20 and he's just incredibly immature. But I would not trust him as far as I can see him because he's proven to you he's not a person of character and integrity. And he wants to take the money that you're the money that you're earning and take it and say, this is mine, just because of some handshake we made. And it's just not accurate. So I wouldn't throw the business away, but I would dissolve the partnership. And I would say, I quit this. And I'm going to go open my own business down the street. And I would do exactly what you're doing and make all $300,000 or $500,000 a year on your own. It's what you're doing anyway, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. I guess you just got to call this what it is. What are you worried about?
It's not as much as of a worry. I kind of just have like this hope for the future based on our plans and what we've talked about, that we're going to be expanding into other industries. And, you know, we're a really good team. You know, our skills and our attributes kind of complement each other.
You're breaking my heart, brother. You're not. This is like somebody talking to somebody who's like, I know she cheats on me, but like we're really good together.
She's so nice. She's so nice.
Yeah, and she's pretty, and like her dad takes me hunting. Like I get that, but you're married. Like that relationship's over. Same here, man. I hate this for you.
I mean, because just think about it, Ashton. As the business continues to grow, the problems you're having are going to magnify. So if you are having issues now with you carrying the weight and he doesn't care about that at all, that's going to magnify, right?
And he's going to get married and want to take 3 months off, and you'll just keep doing the job. I mean, and he'll want to go to his kids' games, and you'll keep doing the job. And he'll want to start another side business, and you'll keep doing the job.
So either put in some stipulations for him to continue moving forward on what you want him to do, right? I mean, I think that's fair. Of like, okay, we need to work X amount of hours, or profit-wise, I take a percentage of the profits from the percentage of work that I do, like,
or that I book, right?
Yeah, I mean, whatever it looks like, but you know, structure it where it's fair, and then from there, if he can get on board, that's fine. But let me just, I will tell you, we work with small businesses all the time through Entree Leadership, and it's not always the case, but I'm gonna say 98% of the time. We always say the ship that doesn't sail, that never sets sail is a partnership. Like it's the one ship you just don't want to be on as a partnership. Again, small percentage of ones they work, but Ashton, you're going to run into this. And versus if you just do it on your own, and maybe he's a manager under you or something, you know, works for you. But long term, I would not continue down this road because there's been no proof of change at all from him initiating it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that's
and
accurate.
I feel like you're bitter too, Ashton.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting to. Here's the other thing: don't resent him because that's on you. That's because you didn't set up a boundary and hold to it. You just kept going along with it and going along with it and going along with it, and now you hate the guy. Every time you see his phone pop up, like his caller ID will pop up on your phone, you're mad. Like, don't do that to him. Just like let him go. Let the person who lacks integrity go. And dude, he's a childhood friend. Y'all wanted a business. Y'all had big dreams together. And by the way, can we just say this? For a 20-year-old making $500,000 top line, you are absolutely crushing it. You must be amazing at what you do. Imagine if you had a team working behind you and beside you that had the same work ethic and drive you did. You'll be painting the entire city, right?
And
yeah, that's a whole nother.
You just got to grieve it, dude.
So,
you got to grieve it, man.
I mean, and again, if there was some deal, Ashton, that said, "Yeah, I'm going to go to school for 3 years. Can you run this thing? Take the profits of what you make, and I'm going to get back in after I graduate, or something." Right? I mean, like there's common sense ways to approach it, but this doesn't feel like common sense at all the way he's gone about it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in a perfect world, and I know this is not what you're advising me to do, but just have to say it. In a perfect world, we would have a conversation where we do set boundaries. But I've tried to do that before, and he kind of just like talks around it, and he gets really emotional, and I feel like I can't have a real conversation. And then we get done with the conversation, and nothing changes.
That's right.
And then, you know, after a week, I'm back to being like, damn, you know, I'm still getting the short end of the stick.
And in a perfect world, another thing, Dave Ramsey would send me an email and just say, "Hey, I just deposited $5 million into your checking account just because I love you. You're handsome." That'd be awesome. And in another perfect, you get what I'm saying? We keep doing this all day long, right? It's just, unfortunately, and you're finding it out, we don't live in a perfect world. We live in a messed up, sideways, jacked up world. And I want to commend you, dude. You've tried to have the hard conversation. You're doing great business. You had dreams for you and your buddy. And he bailed on you.
In reality, yep.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call, Ashton. Thanks to all the guys in the booth. Thank you to our wonderful audience today at the Money and Marriage Weekend Getaway. Thank you, John, for being a great co-host. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, what are you still doing here? You know the rest of the show's happening on the Ramsey Network app, right? So you got to jump over there to continue watching. You can download it for free. Just go to your app store, type in Ramsey Network. It's completely free, and I'll drop a link in the show notes to make it easy for you. So if you're watching on the app, you're in luck. But if you're watching anywhere else, this show is over for you. So jump onto the app and let the fun continue. All right. Go on now. Don't make it weird. Okay, I got nowhere to go, so you need to go. Okay, bye-bye now. All right, it's getting weird over there, guys. What do we do?